Hello, wonderful people. Welcome to Law Made Simple and Comprehensive. We are looking at SJD1501, second assignment, because the first assignment is long overdue. What I can say about this module is that this is more of a research-based module. You need to dig for information. You cannot run to StudioQ, Google, Wikipedia, Quora and start taking information there. You're going to be charged for plagiarism. There are also those platforms on the internet. I don't remember the name. They are called Twitter experts or something, but there's experts there. They have already answered these questions there. You're going to find the same question being answered, and you're going to take that answer and write it. No, you cannot do that. You're going to be penalized because our lecturers are aware that there are those platforms there. With SJD, most of the questions don't change, so the answers are already there. So please avoid doing that. Do your own research. Learn how to do your own research. Learn how to compile your own information, because with law, everything is about doing research. So you need to learn from this early stage on how to do your own stuff. All right. I just hope that this assignment, maybe I can say that. With this assignment or this video tutorial is going to give you a clear picture on how to try and compile your own information. Let's just look at the first question there. How can the principles of Ubuntu be applied in the criminal justice system to ensure justice for victims? The first thing that you need to do here is to ask yourself, what is Ubuntu? And what do they mean what are they referring to when they talk about the principles of Ubuntu? What is the criminal justice system? Then what I can advise you to do is to maybe go to your internet or go to your dictionary or whatever source that you have at your exposure. Look at the definition of Ubuntu just to get a clear picture of what is going on here and understand what is the criminal justice system. Then from there you go to your study guide. We do have a guide here. It's not actually a study guide, but these are the lessons that you have on my UNISA. I just have them in a PDF format, I mean. Then you read there. There's a lot of information to read there, which I cannot read to you. I'm just going to read these few pages here. Oh, my back is killing me. It's not even my back, it's ulcers. Hey guys. Exploring Ubuntu and the law. If you are a South African, you may be aware of the notion of Ubuntu. When we think of humaneness, fairness, and social justice, the concept of Ubuntu comes to mind. In this learning unit, we wish to introduce you to this rather abstract concept and explore how the principles of Ubuntu may contribute to justice in our society. What is Ubuntu? Can you think of examples of Ubuntu in your community? Very few people in society show more insight into justice, compassion, and Ubuntu than former President Nelson Mandela. As a victim of many social injustices, he talks about the spirit of Ubuntu as the basis of a sound and just society. Okay. I think that you are going to find this on your lesson 2 on my UNISA. I found this PDF format guide on Telegram. Then it further says, reflecting on how Ubuntu fits into our society. There is clearly no single definition of Ubuntu. It is a way of life. However, certain principles feature predominantly and Ubuntu is characterized by a few overarching themes. These are acceptance of our differences, mutual understanding of one another, respect for each other, treatment of each other with dignity, reconciliation and unity. That is solidarity, guys. Value of human life, spirit of selfishness, of selflessness. I'm saying selfishness, or sharing, environment of trust. Ubuntu, just like the rights in the Constitution, is not just about what it does for you. It is also about responsibility. As much as you, for instance, have a right to be respected and treated with dignity, you also have the responsibility to respect others and treat them with dignity. You can go down at the bottom and continue reading so that you understand. You see, there's a lot that you're going to read there, and this is where you are going to find, okay, maybe let me just read there. No, let me just leave it here for now. Yeah. You're just going to find everything there, but did you really find out what is Ubuntu? No, you did not. So what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to do your own research of Ubuntu. Okay, let me show you something. Yeah, I have this I don't know what to call it. Maybe it's a dissertation or something. I don't know what it is, but it talks about Ubuntu. So when you look further, what does it say there? Definition of Ubuntu. Ubuntu refers to an African way of life that accords respect to human dignity and equality to any person, irrespective of status, in a communitarian sense. Thus, an individual has an inborn corresponding duty to accord respect to other members of the community. Its literal translation is humaneness. Its roots can be traced back to rural communities. It is derived from community practices and inheritance from the past. Guys, there is a lot of stuff that you're going to be finding here. Just do your own research. You can further look for many things. Here is a journal. Journal of Conflict and Social Transformation, Volume 4, Number 1, 2015. Hey, what? It was written by CPC Domisa. Let me show you so that you can be able to reference it in case you decide to use it. Yeah, I found it on, what did I find it on? I don't remember, but I think I found it on Google Scholar. Yeah, I think I downloaded it there. Not so sure, but that's what I think. Here is another one that you can look at. Practicing Ubuntu and leadership for good governance. You don't want the rest of the stuff. You just want where they are talking about Ubuntu, so that you can just try to grab that little information. It's either you paraphrase it or you simply reference the information. Quote. This is the one that I really like. What does it say there? It says Ubuntu is an old African term for humanness, for caring and sharing. It is a way of life and stresses the importance of community, solidarity, sharing and caring. As an ideal, Ubuntu means the opposite of being selfish and self-centered. It promotes cooperation between individuals, cultures and nations. Ubuntu thus empowers all to be valued, to reach their full potential in accord with all around them. An Ubuntu style of government means a human style of government based on collective solidarity in what. You can just forget about the rest of the stuff. But if you took that definition, whether you paraphrase it or you can just end it here. Whether you paraphrase it or you quote it, it doesn't really matter, as long as if you have used the correct referencing style and reference it. You can go further and continue reading. There's a lot of stuff that you're going to take there. There's just so much that you can take. You don't have to all take that first thing there that I mentioned, because you're going to be charged for plagiarism. I'm just showing how to do things. Now we have a clear picture of what is Ubuntu. Now we understand what is Ubuntu. Then, because we have done your thorough reading and everything, now you understand what you're supposed to write about now. Then you go back to your study guide and understand what is meant by the criminal justice system. Learning Unit 4 is where you are going to find a clear picture of what is meant by the criminal justice system. The criminal justice system refers to the SAPS, the NPA, the courts, and where you're going to be sentenced, and the correctional services where you're going to serve your sentence. So this requires you to read up and understand. Don't just do as I did here, just running to this page, because I know where to find the answers, but I just want you to read and understand so that you can write about something that you really understand. So the question is, how can... Okay, we never read about the principles of Ubuntu. I never brought them up, though we did like go through them, but I did not state that these are the principles of Ubuntu. But so these are the principles of Ubuntu: acceptance, mutual understanding, respect, treatment of each other with dignity, reconciliation and solidarity, value of human life, a spirit of selflessness, sharing, an environment of trust. So these are the principles of Ubuntu. So how can those criminal justice system functionaries show them to victims to ensure that justice is served? Let's look at this. I don't know where I found it. I don't remember. I don't want to lie, but somewhere in the internet. Let's see. You see? Just read and understand how victims are supposed to be treated. You need to understand, you need to know the duties of those criminal justice system functionaries, the SAPS. This one talks about the SAPS only. Just read here and understand what they say there. We can just read here first. It says victims can explain how the crime have affected them so that the police official can refer the victim to service providers in the area for trauma counseling or other available victim-friendly services. This is a sign of Ubuntu. Yes, it is their duty, but it's somehow a sign of Ubuntu because they show that they are caring for them. Is this not the principles of Ubuntu include caring for one another. So when the police officer refer the victim to those service providers who counsel them for trauma and whatever stuff, it's a sign of Ubuntu because they are showing that they are caring for them, you know. There's a lot of stuff that we can read here. You see there, it further says if a victim reports a case at the SAPS, how must the victim be treated? The SAPS must provide a professional, accessible, and sensitive service to you, the victim of crime and or violence, when you report the case and also during the investigation of crime. This is what I have been looking for. What does it say? It says, this is what I'm reading, guys. This side. This is what I'm reading. Police officials have to provide the following victim empowerment support for a victim. Treat victims with fairness, respect, courtesy in private without discrimination, regardless of circumstances, race, gender, age, disability, sexual orientation, and appearance. Take statement in a professional and sensitive manner with respect for the victim's right to privacy and complete all the necessary forms to register the crime. The member will interview the victim in a language that he or she understands. All these things, guys, all these things, you need to make sure that you read them and understand them. You don't have to maybe try to copy them or something like that, copy and paste, or what's this? They say it's page writing. You cannot do that. Just read them and understand. Then you put them in your own words and make sure that you link all your answers to the question that you are being asked. You cannot just start writing these things and not try to link them to the question at hand. Make sure that the marker will understand that you are trying to say that these duties that the police officials have, they are the principles of Ubuntu that are being shown to victims. This is not the only pamphlet or the only source of information that you can use. There are many, guys. Here is another one. It's a service charter for victims of crime in South Africa. This document, I think it also contains information about what? About the courts and everything. You see, there's just a lot of stuff that you're going to find here. There's a lot of information that you can look at. See, so this is where it includes the courts. At first we're talking about the SAPS, where you report your case. Now it goes to the prosecutor, the NPA, social service providers. That's where you go for counseling, medical, whatever's, everything, you know. There's a lot of stuff that you're going to find here, so you just need to make sure that you read up about everything. They talk about the parole when you have served your sentence, you know, everything, you guys, the correctional services. Then that's enough for 200 words. Then you're going to go to the second question, which says share an example of a case where you have experienced that the law can contribute to a harmonious and peaceful society. This there are many cases that you can find, but the case that they're looking for here, it is the State versus Makwanyane case, the 1995 case. When you go back to the guide, remember I stopped reading here, I'm coming back again. It says Ubuntu is a concept that is firmly entrenched in our legal system. The spirit of fairness, respect, etc., as highlighted above, is clearly illustrated in the preamble to the Constitution. It is further evident when you look at case law. Do you remember that we told you in Learning Unit 1 that case law is a source of our law? In the Constitutional Court, in S versus Makwanyane 1995, the court made reference to Ubuntu as a concept which underlies our constitution. The court explained that Ubuntu recognizes a person as a human being entitled to unconditional respect, dignity, value, and acceptance from the members of the community that such a person is part of. This is an extremely lengthy but very important case. It deals with the constitutionality of the death penalty, capital punishment. In this judgment, the court held that the death penalty was not consistent with the value of Ubuntu. It declared legislation that allows for capital punishment unconstitutional and invalid. If you are interested, you may read the whole case. Yeah. So I don't think that you can read that whole case. It's a very long case. I have never finished that case. I tried reading it in my first year, but I never finished it. So yeah, it's a very long one, but you can finish it. I'm not saying that you cannot, but it's a very long one. So you can just look it up in the internet, find things that you can write about the case. You can also use the constitution on this one because it's 500 words, so you can use the constitution on this one. By using the constitution, I'm referring to, this is the South African constitution, you know? Section 11, it says everyone has the right to life. So you can include that, saying that people, what can I say? Everyone has a right to life. No one is entitled to kill anyone, according to the South African 1996 Constitution, whereas it started from the 1993 interim. You can go back to that pamphlet that I was talking about. It's a journal or something, I don't know. I'll just say, I'll just start reading from the top there. It says, these discussions have given impetus by its inclusion in the preamble of the 1993 Constitution and its detailed discussion in the landmark case of SSS Makwanyane, in which the death penalty was declared unconstitutional. The preamble of the 1993 Constitution provides as follows. You will read everything there. There's a lot of information that you're going to find about the Makwanyane case. You don't have to necessarily go to Sudoku and start copying what P. Chuckleston says. You're going to be penalized for that. There's just a lot of things. And you can further mention that Ubuntu is looking over someone's transgressions. By that I mean that even we accept a person into our society even when they have made mistakes. That's why after the 1996 Constitution, our correctional services encouraged restoration other than retribution, if I'm correct. Retribution was more like punishment, then restoration is what can I say, maybe fixing something and preparing it to come back to society and be a better person to that society other than the person that they were before. You know, you can read about retribution and restoration in your study guide again. So there's a whole lot of stuff that you can write about. So I can sum up this video by stating that maybe clarifying especially the first question by saying that you need to state that okay, you give the definition of Ubuntu. From there you can also give the definition of maybe a victim, if what is a victim, if that's what you want to write. you can write whatever you feel like writing. Then you can simply say that the concept of Ubuntu can be translated to humanist. Ubuntu can be explained as the African way of life which grants respect to human dignity and equality. Ubuntu signifies the centrality and the importance of individuals' independence with other members of the community. You write whatever that you want to write there. Then you further mention that the SAPS are the first step in the criminal justice system. Their role is to protect the society and crime prevention. The police respond to crime scenes, investigate cases, and deal with victims. They preserve evidence collected during investigation and ensure that offenders are brought to justice and participate in efforts to address the root cause of crime. The duty of the NPA is to prosecute. You write all the necessary information that you can think of. Then you come to the function of the court, which is to decide disputes between the state and the citizens. You further go to the criminal justice. You further go to the correctional services and mention that they make sure that offenders are punished and rehabilitated in a safe, secure, and lively environment while reintegration is successfully implemented. Then you mention that the criminal justice system functionaries can incorporate the principles of Ubuntu if in their daily work by practicing the below mentioned and discussed points. The functionaries can incorporate Ubuntu in their duties by serving the society with loyalty and honesty. By that we refer to, that nowadays there's corruption everywhere. Can you see the Senzo Meyiwa case? What's going on there? We don't know what's going on with that case. That case is just doing, I don't know, it's going in circles. We don't know what's going on there. We know that we lose dockets, police dockets are being lost because the offenders bribe police officers to lose those dockets, and at the end of the day you do not have a case. They bribe prosecutors, or they bribe the judges or the magistrates or whoever presiding officer. They also there's also corruption inside prisons. You know that those wardens, they smuggle drugs, they smuggle cell phones, they smuggle everything, they smuggle weapons as well. So corruption is everywhere, but if they can avoid that kind of corruption and treat people equally, and all those qualities are being practiced of Ubuntu, justice can be served to victims, and the principles of Ubuntu can be applied, and a whole lot of other stuff, guys. So yeah, because if the police if the criminal justice functionaries avoid all those bribes and everything sort of stuff or corruption, justice is going to be served to victims. That is my whole point of this. So yeah, this is all that I can say about this assignment. But do not copy what I am saying or whatever thing that I've shown you here. Just do your own research. I am just showing you how to do this, because if I do not show you all this and I just come here giving you all the answers just like the other videos, you are not going to know how to do this whole thing, and you are not going to be able to pass the portfolio, because there's a lot of information that you need to dig. So keep safe and work hard on your studies, and good luck.